All right. What's up, guys? It's about 10 o'clock here. Good to see everyone. Today, I'm going to be making. I really don't know. So, I'm just going to start modeling, have some fun. We can hang out. Y'all can ask questions. And we'll see where we go. I don't have my tablet set up, so I'm not ready for grease penciling, but I think I'll do some modeling and then maybe draw over it. Let's see if I can probably make like a sci-fi, because I love sci-fi. A sci-fi scene and go from there. All right, Henry, Ferd, Aaron, thank you for already being here. You guys are really great. It's actually kind of crazy. Like, oh, hold on. I think my stream is going on in my background. There we go. All right. Let's see what we get here. Let's set everything up so you guys can see the colors of my keys. Set up some different cameras. All right, let's see. Where are we gonna go? Where are we gonna go? All right, guys. When you guys watch this stream, right? Like, what do you guys want to see? What is it? What is it that interests you in this whole thing? I'm curious. You know, when you watch a Blender stream, are you just watching for the artist? You looking for tips? What are you guys working on? Why do you guys tell me what you guys are making? Maybe I can get some ideas. Let's go. All right. Let's make. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. This is tough. Should have thought about this whole week. I had all week to think about it, but I decided I didn't want to. Nice. Yeah, getting familiar with Blender is always the tough part for me. There we go. Cause yeah, there's just Blender's such a big program. It has like 15 different panels and all these buttons, and if you don't understand like the concept, I can definitely see how it's pretty overwhelming. Let's do something. Oh, definitely on the grease pencil. All right, I'm gonna look for textures right now. Where do you guys usually get textures? Like, what are your go-to websites? Like, I usually go. Let me show you. I got like textures.com, previously known as like CG Textures or something. This is like decent. I think I have a few other ones. Let's see if I have my bookmarks. Textures. Yeah, there's just so much. All right, what I'm doing now is I'm just looking for some textures, seeing if I can just find some quick and easy texture. Start building something trippy. Let's see. Okay, so let's start with a texture. We're gonna color it. Let's see if we can use some grease pencil over some like buildings or something. So first things first, let's add in the texture. The way that I'm gonna add it is there's this Blender user named Ian Hubert. I think you probably heard of him, but he does a lot of like VFX in Blender, and you can really learn a lot. He does like, what is it, 1 minute trailers, or not 1 minute trailers, 1 minute tutorials, or lazy tutorials. That's what they're called. Check him out. I mean, there's still you probably still need to know a little bit to really understand his tutorials, but he's a pretty good tutorial maker. At least it gets you down with like the concepts and stuff. All right. So all I did was like I imported this image as a plane, so it already makes it in like the right size for me. The texture is here. I don't have to like UV map it or anything, so that's pretty neat. We're gonna change this into a sun, and then we're gonna start working with it. Let's move this to, oops. Let's start making like a basic shader for this, right? Because when it comes to shaders, I like to either have them saved or just have them really easy. All right, here's the shader. So when you do that import, it does like this whole shader part for you, which is pretty neat. I usually take out this alpha. Don't particularly need that. Yeah, Ian stuff is amazing. It's like so good. And it's like He just makes it look so easy. It's like watching like a professional, you know, whatever sports, any sport or anything, just do their thing, and they just make it look so effortlessly. Obviously, it's a lot in the the editing, and he's hiding a bit of the mundane and like issues that you arise when doing it, but it's pretty good regardless. So basically, I got this texture here, and I have Texture Wrangler, so I just hit Control T and it added in the mapping for me. I don't know, I just kind of like this here. It makes me feel good. To organize nodes, if y'all didn't know, y'all can just grab all the nodes, and in the same way that you can hit S for scale, you can scale them, and then you can rotate them. You know, have some fun rotating. But what I do is I do scale, and then I do 0, and then I do X. Nope. Y. Yeah, so that lines them all up nice. Oops. And then same thing, I grab and then I hit X, and that slides them down. And I just like being, at least I try to be. I preach a lot. Name your files, but and name your layers and be organized. But there's some times that I just don't do that, and it I always pay for it at the end. It's always not a not a good thing. So just with this texture, you can use the black and white version of it. So what I do, I think you could just probably put the color in, but I like to use a color ramp and attach it here to the color ramp, and this makes it black and white, right? What is it? There you go. So it makes it black and white, and basically I can use this as a rough map for this texture. It's not always good, and it doesn't always work well. Like if you were doing like a professional job or you're doing like an actual job, you'd probably want to go in there and do this in Photoshop and then paint in and out what is rough, you know, white with rough and then black with not rough. I believe that's how it is. But since we're just doing this on the fly, and it doesn't even matter, because I think I'm gonna add a lot of gradients. I'm a big gradient fan, so it doesn't matter in the long run. So basically I put the texture into a gradient map, and this way I can control how bright or how harsh these reflections are, and see I can get like basically all those windows blacked out, which is kind of awesome. So we have that. Let's connect back our shader. Let's delete this. There you go. I was like, where's the texture? It was just like the reflection of the specular on it. Yes. Procedural textures, I definitely like to keep things as close to procedural as possible. But what I find with procedural textures, they are great and versatile. I think they're really good if you're like, they're good for all reasons, but I think they're really good if you're doing like something that you're gonna like do like a big project, or something you just want to reuse the stuff. Because I feel I guess this is speaking about making the shader like on the spot. If I didn't have to make the shader on the spot, I had the shader saved, it was a procedural texture, I would use it. But as far as like making a procedural shader like right now, or not right now, but like if I'm like in a deadline or something, sometimes you're just like making something that's like a gizmo, and you're like, it's like a programming thing where you're just overly complicating it when you just need to finish the task, or you know, reach the goal. At least for me. Obviously you have more experience in, I guess, different areas where it's the same thing. Like I just don't want to over complicate things. But procedural textures are great. Like have you seen the Nodevember, where they use procedural textures to actually like make full-on models? It is crazy. Let's see if I can pull this up. Hold on. Nodevember. Like these procedural textures are ridiculous. Like they make, this is all done with the shader. This is no modeling. This is all done with like texture maps. Not texture map, like the procedural math within nodes, which is like a little bit beyond my head, honestly. And definitely check this out if you're really into procedural textures. Nodevember, it blows my mind, to say the least. You know. All right, let's continue. Let's just have some fun. We're just gonna make some fun stuff. Nothing. We're not trying to go realistic here. So you see, I got the procedural texture in. It's looking all right. When you're in the color ramp, sometimes you want to flip these colors. I'm so happy. Like before, you would have to like drag this and drag it to the other side. And but yeah, you don't have to do that. I think you can just hit flip colors, the little arrow, flip colors. And honestly, I'm not really looking for anything when I work on this. What I'm looking for is just a neat or fun image. You know, like I have a general idea. My style is usually kind of colorful, and I use a lot of gradients. So for this, I'm just like, all right, cool. That's looking all right. Great. I love using area lights. Let's see if I can use an area light instead. Another thing I like to do in the beginning when I use area lights instead of using like a sun lamp and stuff, I like just to put the constraint on the lamp. Add and do a lot. Excuse me, and do a lock constraint. And I choose my wall here. We're gonna rename this wall. Anyway, so I like to add this constraint onto the light, so the light's always pointing at it. Right now, you see it's pointing down, so you have to like. I'm always guessing with this, so I usually think it's like. Is it lock track? Or is it track 2? I think it's track 2, right? Let's see. See, even I'm getting confused here. Maybe not. Am I wrong? Here we go. No. Yes. I'm a professional Blender artist. I always get confused with this. Oh my god. Okay. Let's do this again. Z. Y. Z. Y. No. X. Negative X. Is it pointing at it? Am I doing this right? Definitely is not. I don't think it's lock tracked. I think it's track 2, right? Well, there it is. It's track 2, negative Z and Y. And you see that the light is now aiming at it. And I like to do this so I can set everything up much easier, because I just need to light my subject. So I'll change the color for now for funsies. We'll lower this to like 200. And you know, I'm a very typical basic person, so we're gonna do that vaporwave nostalgia aesthetic of the 80s. I think that pink and cyan, you know, I don't know, I just like. Let me bring this camera in closer. Great. So yeah, how's everybody doing? Is everybody doing all right? Is anybody working on anything? Talk to me. I'd definitely like to talk about you as much as I like to talk about Blender. right now, just I guess for people watching, just know that I am building something out. I'm kind of like fleshing out an idea while modeling, so then I can use the grease pencil in some way, shape, or form on this. I find it easier to make a sketch first, and by sketch I mean, it could be a drawing, but like just something quick and dirty in Blender. I'm obviously taking a long time doing this. Just kidding. This is about as long as I take. You gotta take your time. You gotta have fun. Anyway, let's do a loop cut here. Go to Control R. And then a cool trick is that you do a bevel. So I do Control B and I make the loop cut go out here, because I'm gonna make this easier on me. Now I have 2 loop cuts. There's way too much going on here. Hold on. Let me get rid of these relationship lines. Can I get rid of these lamp lines too? Oh, I can. Look at that. So under here, under the overlays, I just get rid of relationship lines and extras. Sometimes I just don't want these like lamps in my way. Then my lamps are set up, and I guess I get rid of the camera as well, as you can see on the bottom here. Yeah, sometimes they get in the way. I don't like it. I know I can press this, but this gets rid of everything, and I kind of don't want to get rid of everything. Okay, so back to this. All right, we're going in. We beveled it. Now we got 2 loop cuts after we beveled the line. So let's pick. Can we double loop cut? Hold on. We can. So I just beveled it again, and basically I'm just creating the lines as like efficiently as possible to save time. I hit the 2 so I can go into this mode up here. Edge select. You grab the line and then hit G twice, and you can slide the line wherever. So I'm just sliding the lines to right at the end. Right at the end of the windows, the edge, the sides of it. Great. So now I have them all on the side. This time I need 3 loop cuts. Let's see if I can do that. I can. So there are my loop cuts. If you can see them, maybe I should work in like this color, like that. Great. So I got my loop cuts. Hold Alt, press click on the line. It clicks all the lines. I shift it right to the center. That one's right in the center already. Right in the center. Beautiful. Now I can just hold Shift and Alt, select the 3 horizontal lines. Control B for beveling, which is like, it means a different thing in this 2D context. Anyway, I bevel it, make those lines, and look, all at the same time. No need to like do extra work or anything. So I like that. I like that a lot. All right, let me just look at this chat. All 3 of you guys watching, thank you for watching. All right, so continuing, I hit 3. Go in the face mode. We select the faces. Boom, 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 boom. Holding Shift, you click on them all. You hit E. You extrude, and it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing. That's weird, right? Isn't that weird? Like, I extruded it. It gives me this glitchy thing. And I was doing a project over the weekend, and this was like driving me crazy. Like, I was trying to figure out why. All I did was extrude it. Like, if you look at just the model, you see that all I did was extrude it. It gives me all this like garbage. It's like pure garbage. I think this happens when you extrude on a texture in Eevee. I think this is a specific Eevee problem. Let me make sure. Go to cycles. Yeah, see, in cycles I get no issue, right? No issues with cycles. But if you go to Eevee, let's go to Eevee. What am I doing? Yeah, you can see these issues, and I figured it out. It took me a long time. I figured out what this Eevee glitch is that happens when you extrude on an object with a texture. I think if you go to material, right, here we go, Here's my material. We'll name it building because this name is ridiculous. Name your layers. And it's in these options because I figure the Eevee has options in the materials, like some extra options, because since it's rendering in real time, it has like a whole different engine. It's working differently than Cycles, and I used to work primarily in Cycles. So to fix it, yeah, you just click on show back faces, and that makes it go away. And boom, you fix the issue. Isn't that crazy? Like, you can spend so much time in Blender where something's like wrong and you just don't know what it is, and it could just be as simple as like a button. Let's see. It could be as simple as just a button that you didn't know about or even understand, because there's a lot of concepts here that sometimes I don't understand. Because I guess this shows the back face. So I'm assuming from the logic, I'm trying to logic this out here, is that you can see the back half of the faces. I don't know. I'm not sure what that option is used for, but that kind of fixed it. I think that fixed it. That pretty much fixed it. I hope that fixed it. So boom. So in the materials, show back face when you're extruding or like manipulating an object with materials. I think that's where it can happen. So these edges I don't like, so I'm gonna just reproject them. So I'm gonna go to the UV editor, and when you go to the UV editor, you can see like all these panels are corresponding to some part of the texture already. And this is set up this way because I've imported this texture as a plane. So this is all set up. So to fix these like edges that I don't like, I just want to make them like one solid color. I'm going to, let's see, hold Alt and click on the faces while I'm in face mode, and that selects all of them like that. So I do it for all 6. Bow, 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 bow. Okay, so all 6 are selected. These are all the rims, and you see that they are technically representing this window or whatever. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hit 3, and then we're looking at it from the side, and then I'm gonna hit U and do project from U. So this is gonna make the UVs look exactly like how I'm looking at them right now. So you see they end up being these 3 on the left. And now that's just what they are. So now if I select them all here, hit A, because these shortcut keys transfer over to the different panels. Wherever your mouse is at is where your shortcuts are being applied. So I hit A here, I select them all. If I hit A here, it'll select all this. Anyway, so I grab this, and you see they're changing, and I'll just put it in the middle in the white, and I guess that makes it a little better. Yeah, I guess that's good. Yeah, I like it. It's fine. It's better than the distorted texture mess I had before. Let me set this chat to live chat. I have it on top chat, which I guess I'm afraid that if I did that, like, maybe I won't see some chatting. So I'm gonna fix that for 1 second. Great. Okay. So yeah, we fixed that, and that's a beautiful thing, you know. And you know, to see something fun, we can just put an array modifier on this and make it go upwards or to the side. This can go either way, however you want it. It goes off into infinity. We have this long corridor hallway, or we can change the relative offset, and we can change this to 1. That's 1 full segment. Nope, that's not how you do that. Look at that. Looks kind of cool though. It's on the Y or the Z. I guess this is like X, Z, Y, which is always interesting because everything's X, Y, Z. X, Z, Y. Unless this is rotated. This is rotated. This is rotated. So if I okay. All right, so I just solved something with myself. So everything is XYZ, and then when I put the 1 up here, this is technically supposed to be the Y, but it's going up, and it's just because this this object is rotated, and you'll see what's on it by looking in the end panel, I believe. Go to this side here, locations and rotations, and you'll see what its original state it's in. So right now it's 90 degrees from its original state. So if you go to rotation and hit 0, that's its original state, right? And that's why when I hit Y, I put 1 here, it goes further in the Y, right? So obviously I wanted the sand up. That's how it came in. But what if I wanted this to be the original state, like it pointing upwards, like without this? That's what I want. So this would make sense, X, Y, Z. So what you have to do is you click on it, and I think it's Control A. And what this does is that it applies its transformations. And what that means is whatever transformations it has, which are rotation, location, scale, it's just got to reset it and say that this is its original state, right? So we'll do that. Control A. You could do it by section, location, rotation, scale. I do all transforms. You see that 90 went away. If you didn't see it, it's 90 degrees from its original state. Control A, apply transforms, and then that makes it 0. So then now when I turn this on, this makes more sense when Z is upward. As you see, if you ever need to remember, the colors are right here. Y is green, blue is Z, and red is X. And you can also see it here on the planes, the green and the red. But yeah, now this makes sense. Now when I go into the Z, it moves upwards. And I know that this doesn't really matter for you. Like in the beginning, I didn't understand why I needed to care about that. But as you start using more modifiers, these modifiers it's like they're applying it to like its original state, you know. So there's some settings that can be confusing or mess up because of the transforms not being applied. And I hope that makes sense. Maybe it's a little too advanced. Anyway, so I made this building looking all right, and what's great is that it's, you know, an array, and I can easily just get in here and continue editing it, and it'll apply to all of them. Let's see. Look at that tall building, huh? Okay, let's make some more ridges for this. And by ridges, I just mean these like lines on the windows. So we're gonna do it again. We're gonna, to make this easier to look at, we'll go into just the textured mode. We're gonna do it again, guys. A lot of 3D modeling and a lot of like Blender itself is a lot of like repetition of like some core things, and then you do some special other things, and then it's always you just building upon that knowledge. So it can be overwhelming, but just don't, you know, when you first learn how to drive, when I first learned how to drive, going on the highway was so overwhelming. How can people go like 60, 70 miles an hour, look in their mirrors, look in the rear view, turn left, go right, and then like pay attention? And where it comes from is that you have to build up those skill sets little by little. First you drive, first you park, and then, you know, eventually you get better and go on the highway. So anyway, go on a little tangent there. Control R for a loop cut, and you see that's got to cut it all the way through. Beautiful. I have these 2 lines here, so instead of making just another loop cut, I just like to take a shortcut, Control B, and then I make the loop cuts like that. Sometimes they don't line up, right? Sometimes when I'm rotating like this, see how when I'm rotating around, it's not rotating around what I'm looking at. It's rotating like in this weird, I don't know, there's nothing here when I'm rotating. To fix stuff like that and like issues with like the viewport, if you have a keyboard with the numpad, I would use the, what is it, the decimal period, or the period, or the decimal. Anyway, the thing by the 0, press on that, and what that would do is it will zoom up on it and then kind of center it. So now when I circle around, I'm circling around it. So if I were to, let's say I wanted to do this line in this corner and I'm rotating, you see that I'm rotating around, like I want to work on this line over here, right? And then but I'm rotating around this point still. That's because like the viewport is kind of still looking at that. So I use this button all the time. So then I'm like, no, I don't want to focus on that. Hit the numpad period, and boom, I'm zoomed up on it, and now I can circle around it. So you should always be using that to center around what you're working on. So if I click on this, now you'll see that it's rotating on a weird angle. Hit the numpad, you're good to go. Don't forget that. A lot of learning Blender is like learning the shortcuts, and for navigating and just for the basic stuff. Because once that gets out of the way, once it's muscle memory, it's you can just create and you flow out a lot better. Anyway, double G to slide the loop cut, just to center it there. Double G, perfect. Control B again for bevel. Oh, let's do it on both actually. So Alt select, Alt Shift select. So now I'm selecting both, and then Control B. Honestly, let's see. I'm maybe overcomplicating this, because now I'm just gonna do this on this side first before I do that. Do that. Control R, Control B. Perfect. Select these loops. Control B. All right, great. So now I have these lines in the windows, right? And I want to extrude them out. You can do something cool, and you can do, let's see, I think it's Alt E. E is like the extrude button. If you hit Alt E and you do extrude along faces, you'll see that it kind of makes this cool thing. Let's see if you can see it here, if it's better. I don't know. You can just make cool looking stuff with that, with Alt E, extrude all, but that's not what we want to do. I wanted to show you that. It doesn't pertain to this. Alright. Great. So some of these windows are good. Anyway, so I'm gonna hit 3, and what 3 does is it shifts what I'm clicking on. So 1, 2, 3. So that's vertices, edges, and faces. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Don't forget 1, 2, 3. And this is 1, 2, 3, not on the numpad, but like above your keyboard. So I hit 3, and I select these little panels here that I want. Looking good. Honestly, I don't want to get too detailed on this. I'm really just showing for the people who are new to Blender, like just the basics of like of modeling and stuff. All right, so great, beautiful. Alt E, and actually you don't even do Alt E. You can just hit E, and then it'll extrude. It'll extrude the lines, and this is already looking cool on the left. I'm trying to make something crazy looking, so that's looking like a lot of fun, right? But we won't do that, right? You should do that. You should do that and send me pictures. I love some trippy stuff. So I'm gonna bring this, and once again I'll hit the numpad period, and right now this is centering it in relative to everything that's selected, so it's like right in the center since everything's selected. So I'm gonna get real close and extrude. Very nice. Maybe not all the way. Beautiful. All right, and then let's see if I know a trick here. So yeah, I don't like the sides of these, so we're gonna do the same thing we did for the windowsills. And you know, there's probably some fast way to do this. I may have just missed it, but we're just gonna do it the old-fashioned way since it's not a lot. But if there was a bunch of windows, like a ton of windows, I would definitely be finding a method to do this quicker. The more creative you get with selections, the better. Like for example, if you wanted to delete all of them and you couldn't undo or whatever, you can always do, I think you can select one, and I think it's Control plus, and it starts selecting outwards. You see how it starts selecting everything? And you can use that to your advantage to select multiple things at the same time. Like it's very useful. So we're not going to select the faces because we're going to do the same thing we did to the sides of it, guys. We're almost done with this building. I'm almost done with this building. I definitely want to work on something here. All right. Hope you guys are doing well. You know, it's it's tough out there, and you know, when it comes to like living your life, trying to be creative, but also dealing with your normal life, it's definitely understandable, you know. But I just want you to know that when it comes to learning stuff, it's always going to be a little difficult, and you can definitely get frustrated and stuff. But I say, you know, never, don't give up. If you can't, if Blender one day frustrates you, just come back the next day, and you don't even have to do the same thing you were working on. But sometimes just sitting in here and really just clicking on buttons, just click on those buttons. The worst that can happen is that you have to reinstall Blender because you messed it up so bad that all your panels are messed up. But it's not like you're gonna break an actual thing. So I say, when you go on Blender, click on everything. Anyway, so I have all those selected. We're gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna look at it from the side. So, and then I'm gonna hit U, and use basically for unwrapping, UV mapping. And I guess is what it would be. I think Blender does a pretty good job at putting keys with the right letters. So UV mapping, and we will do, let's do cube projection. Let's see where that ends up. All right, so all my selections are right here in the middle. Yeah, and I can definitely just change them if I want. You see how the texture changes on the left, which is pretty fun. But yeah, we'll keep them in the middle. Right there. Beautiful, looking great. All right, so let's fix now how shiny these windows are, because I don't like how shiny they are. All right, so for the shinies, so that's going to be on this color ramp, which is the black and white image of that same building. There we go. See if we can bring back some of this texture. Sometimes changing the interpolation, this is what this is right here, helps, like ease, linear, B-spline, constant. And you can see, you can really tell what the interpolation is. Like this one, linear, right at this tag here, the black, it stops at black. But right at this white, it stops at white, and then it continues on the white. This continues on the black. But if you put it to ease, oh man, I wish you could see it better. Let's see. You can see that there's more, it's spread out, it eases into the black more, while linear, hold on, linear, the grays are more over here, but if you do ease, you get more grays and more interpolation. If you go to constant, this is just straight up black and white. Like that's no, you know, there's no easing. You can see in the windows here, let's see, there's just no easing on it, which sometimes you could want, you know, it depends on the style. I usually go between like ease, because I like kind of like that soft look. Maybe I'm just basic, you know, or all of them. Actually, I've used them all, so like they all have their own interpolation. Like I can barely tell the difference between cardinal and linear. Look at that, they barely change. That's pretty funny. So linear, B-spline's interesting because here's my black tag, but black ends up being over here, and then this actually ends up being gray. So you could want that. I mean, I don't know. So basically, what I'm gonna go between is either B-spline or ease or linear. Those are the ones I use the most. And constant is like for special cases. So B-spline makes it a lot softer. So let's go with B-spline. If not, we can always change it. Also, I'm looking at this. Let me get rid of one of these lights. No lights. Okay, so we're gonna fix something here. Right now, the background is just a color, so everything's being dictated. So if we just take off these lights, the lighting of the scene is being dictated by this environment right now. There's no lights. So the reason you can even see this right now is because there's technically a light that's being shine on it. Shine. I'm sorry. Whatever. Shun. Nope. There's technically a light that is shining on it right now, and that light technically right now is 25% gray or 25% black, right? This is that 0.25 here. So if we put the vibrance, or the color is really what I'm doing, up to 100, this is a white light that's just being shined on it, and then boom, it's just like an even ambient light, and that's cool and all, right? whatever. But what you really want to get into doing is putting like HDRI textures. And a good website to use for that, let's see if I have it here. So if you go to HDRI Haven, right, HDRIhaven.com, they just have free HDRIs, and they're basically just like world textures if you don't know what HDRIs are. And let's see if we wanted to do, this is a building, so let's do outdoors or sky. We'll do outdoors. And this is basically the world texture that will project the light onto this building, right? So we all have all these different ones, and it's fun. This is inside a building. It's not even outside technically. And then anyway, you go here. Let's go into this sunflowers one. And I will download it. Man, they let you download the 16K one. This is 374 megabytes. It's insane, for free. And it's Creative Commons 0. So like, go to HDRI Haven, download an HDRI, and then I'll show you how to use it. And then I'll show you a different thing if you don't want to use an HDRI. I'm not going to use 6K. Let's just use, for me, 4K? Even that's a little much. I didn't even have to log in, did I? That's crazy. Anyway, HDRI Haven, get your HDRIs. So I got my 4K sunflower, put it on the desktop. Does not matter. All right. So now I'm going to go to the shader graph here on the bottom left. And I'm going to go to the world texture. And this world texture is basically what I'm looking at here. It's the same thing. So look, background, background, gray, gray. If I change this, it changes that. So that's all this node is representing to me. These are obviously linked, as you saw. So if you have Blender 2.83, I think this add-on should be on, but just in case, you should have Node Wrangler on. Right here, Node Wrangler, and that gives you shortcuts within the shader graph. And it's not called shader graph, node graph. Shader graph's Unity. Anyway, so definitely have this on. Very useful. Look up some YouTube videos on it. It can really speed up your workflow. So, all right, I'm running out of saliva here. Sorry for that noise. Anyway, so I'm gonna do select background, right? And then I'm going to hit Control T. And I like to think of it as like Control T, and T stands for texture. When I remember these shortcuts, I try to assign the letter something related to what I'm doing. So Control T, Control Texture. And then that adds in my texture, my mapping, and like the texture coordinates. This basically sets the texture up. So right now they're all selected. I can hit G and I can move it around. Beautiful. And then I'm going to put the HDRI in this environmental texture. It's already on there. Equal rectangular. Open. Desktop. Sunflower. Boom. Isn't that nice, right? So right now I have the texture of the sunflower. And it's looking pretty cool already. It looks like a video game. There's no pinching at the bottom. They did a pretty good job of getting rid of the camera. It all looks nice. So now this is being technically lit by this texture. So if I turn it off, turn it on, and it will get like the same, like the bottom half will be a little green because of the green on the floor and the brown and the dirt and all that stuff. And it's good. Let's see it in cycles real quick. See what that looks like. Yeah, everything in cycles looks pretty good, obviously, because it's a more accurate render. And then it's looking pretty nice. And then what I like to do is I like to use the HDRI textures and then also use a light with them, right? Because that's how I can art direct things. So I have this background here, and I technically don't want to see that background anymore. So if you go to this tab here, render properties, and you go to film, and I don't know why it's hiding here. You go to film, and then you make it transparent. Now you don't have to look at that background, and you can just see your nice pretty lighting and imagine whatever background you want. So that's looking nice. We'll go back to Eevee because Eevee's fun. Obviously, it looks better in cycles. If you're going for realism, I am not going for realism. So that's where I'm at. Great. All right, so there we go. Got my texture. Let's turn on these lights again. These lights are way too bright. Way. Let's put them at 0. Let's just put them right at 0. Let's see some spotlights instead, right? No. Let's do some point lights. Point lights are fun. And honestly, I'm just really winging it here, guys. Just really winging it. And that's what you should be doing too. I don't think you should, when you go into Blender, especially if you're first learning, don't go in there too like serious. Really treat this like a toy box, and you're just playing with things. All right, there we go. We got that light at 200. We'll get this light, this blue light at 200 as well. Maybe not 200. Is it too close? All right, so I can't see how close this light is, so I'm going to use this panel, and I can start measuring how close this light is. What's interesting is that right now the light still has the constraint on it, so it's still pointing at the bottom, but it's a point light, so it doesn't matter too much. That's fun. And while it has like a neat effect and stuff, I might be going with something different. Let's see if I make this smaller. Make a smaller building. Also, using different like viewpoints like this, having the side view and then your regular view and then another view, I think really helps out a lot. Like, because then I can just go in and really like see where this light's at. Go to the side, get it closer. There's a lot of adjustment. Go to the side, get it closer, look above, put it in front, you know, things like that. All right, so let's do something fun with this building now, because I'm getting tired of looking at it. I love realism, but I don't know. Let's just do something more fun. So let's go to the shader editor, and we're gonna add in a gradient, right? And I'm gonna show you what it looks like while we make it. In this gradient, I use it because I like it, right? You're gonna find things that you like in Blender, and then you're always gonna do it, right? So let's make the gradient without the texture first. So let's, oop, I'm in the wrong area. Look at this. I'm in world right now. So right now I'm just dealing with this tab, world. To go back to normal, like materials, make sure you go to object. Sometimes I don't even see my object. So then you have to click on it. You get your object. There we go. Okay. So let's first get a texture, which will be under textures. And we will do a gradient texture. Since I have shader nodes, or I'm sorry guys, I need coffee. Since I have Node Wrangler, the add-on on, I can just click on this, and I believe I can do Control, Shift, click, and that'll automatically make a viewer for me, but really all this is an emissions node. So it makes a viewer so I can see what's happening here, and I'm gonna just make my gradient, and I want my gradient to go from the bottom to the top, kind of like if the sun was above and then we have the murky streaks at the bottom where the light can't quite hit. So right now I have it, and you can see that the texture looks like it's going from left to right, from dark back, right? So in this texture here, I click on it, hit Control T, it'll create these texture nodes for me for the gradients. I get rid of the mapping, so click on it, hit X, and I'm just gonna color select the color ramp. Let's see if I'm doing this right. This may be wrong, but this is all part of it, you know? It's all part of it. All right, so where's the gradient? The gradient's in the bottom left. So what I want is from bottom to top. So what I do is, and there's different ways you can do this. There's different ways to do everything in Blender. I like to go to, is it converter? And I like to separate the X, Y, and Z. And then when I separate it, I can then select X, Y, which then is forward and back, and then Z, which is top to bottom. Beautiful. All right, cool. So we have the texture, the coordinates that are coming out. We're only getting the Z, right? And then we're mapping that Z from dark to light. And you're like, all right, cool, but it doesn't look that good. It just looks like a gradient. So to play with this, also multiple ways to do it. Let me see if I'll do it the way that it should be done, which I believe it's mapping. And then we just map this before, and then we use the location Z, and then we can move it. And I don't know, I don't like this mapping way. I just think I don't like doing that. So we're gonna do this. We're gonna go to generate, separate the Z. We're gonna do color ramp. I'm gonna set this to linear so this makes more sense. Oh, definitely the blank page, the freedom to do anything. It could be very just nerve-wracking, and it can really stop you from doing stuff. And I think something that helps with that, and this is what made me start streaming, is that you have to put yourself into like constraints. You have to get, if you have no constraints, you have to give yourself some constraints, like some rules, like I'm gonna make something like this, I'm gonna make something like that, and they have to be arbitrary. The problem is sticking with it. You know, it's very easy to be like, I don't want to work on this anymore, and you know, it's tough. I do that all the time. I have too many unfinished projects, but it's about making, I guess, little rules for yourself. Like, I will work on Blender for an hour, see what comes out. It's essentially why we're here today. Anyway, so got the coordinates, separate the Z, I map it from dark to light, and then I use math nodes, right? So I go to converter and I use math, and then for this one, if you add, you see that it just moves it up and down, right? Beautiful. So let's move this closer to the center. So I'm gonna map this there, closer to the center. Or maybe I'm doing this wrong. Hold on. The math should go here. There we go. So I guess the color ramp is the last thing that should be coming out. So it should be separate, and we'll do an add. And I don't know why I like this. It may seem more complicated to other people, but I feel like I just have more control with the math, because then I can do an add, and then I can add another one, and I can do a divide. So see, I can set where I want the darkest color to be. So let's say the bottom, right? And then I can stretch out the color as far as I want. And that's a bit of fun there. Oh, let me read the chat. Exactly, Ferd. It's exactly the difference between running through a field and running through a path. Running through a field is fun, you know, and you have, and so I could definitely see the enticement in that. So it just depends on your goals. Always remember, like, oh, so this is my cat, and my cat is being a little clingy. She's a shoulder cat. Anyway, I'm gonna do this one-handed now. So the difference between running through a field. So yeah, so you always have to remember the why. You know, like, why are you doing this? Is it to get better? Is it to practice? Is it because you have a goal? Do you want to have an artwork at the end? And I think it's very important to establish your why. And your why could be mundane. You could just be like, to have fun, and then you just don't dive in and you just have fun, and your goal is set. But just figure out what your why is, and try to stick to that. And once you get your why, I think it becomes easier to make the constraints to then like continue forward. Oh yes, this cat. Look at this. Oh my god. I can't. I just can't. All right, we're gonna do this one-handed. So cool. So with the separated Z, I can move where the darkest spot is. And you know what? I'm tired of seeing this black and white. You know, it's funny. Guys, I learned something new. We don't need this gradient texture. So we can literally have... Alright, so we can literally just have the emissions, obviously with the color ramp. We overdid it with the texture. And now you can see that I can move with this one, with adding it. And then I can soften it more by keeping the darkest where it is, or that purple where it is. And then divide it, and then that stretches out the blur. So you see it can be very good, or it can be much harsher. Let's see. You can have like a harsh one. So definitely play with this. And also, I don't know if you guys know, but you guys can also name, I believe you could name it. Yeah, you can name your math nodes. All right, kitty, hold on. I gotta bring this kitty down. Oh my god. Sorry, guys. 1 second. Kitty, come on. Hold up. Oh. Oh my god. Hold on. Ugh. All right, say bye to the camera. Oh my god. All right, my cat says bye. All right, so to make this easier, you can always name your nodes, and I think it's naming stuff, like, it's so boring, man, but I feel like a broken record, but just name your stuff. So with this, you can click on the nodes, hit the N key, and you can rename your nodes. So this is like gradients position. And see, under the label is what will change the name. So then now I have this node that says gradient position. And then for this one, I'm going to type in gradient blur. That'd be awesome. It'd be like Freakazoid, if you've ever seen that cartoon. He turns into a superhero because his cat miraculously presses some buttons on the keyboard and he just, boom, superhero or super villain, super neutral. I don't know what he was. Anyway, guys, you can name your nodes by in the N key under item label. So now you can see gradient position, gradient blur, and you can just name them all. You can go crazy. You can even, I think, color them as well. Oh, look at that. Look at those colors. Making them look pretty. For no reason but just to look pretty right now. Because we don't really need them colored. Okay, great, guys. Anyway. So we have basically our gradient. We will divide them more. Okay, and then we're going to add this gradient to our original texture. So let's go back to our original texture. Beautiful, beautiful. Also, I am making a mess of this. All right. So we got our texture. We got our gradient texture, which is right here. You know what? Let's be fancy, right? Let's do a frame. All right, so what I did was Shift A, layout frame, because we're gonna make our texture nice. Forgot how to. I don't really use these. I'm just using this right now to learn. I think you grab them. There it is. So then we got our frame, and we can just name this gradient. Beautiful. You can color it. Why not? Why not color it? Guys, use your colors. Have fun. Make this gray landscape of Blender as much fun as you can. So I got my gradient texture, and let's just put there we go. Gradient. Beautiful. And now we're going to do, let's test out where we can put this this gradient. Like, let's do this 2 different ways. And we're just gonna do an experiment right now. First, let's see if we could just mix these 2 textures, right? So we'll go to Shift A, color, mix RGB. We will put the RGB, not the shader, here, and we'll put this color here, and let's see what that gives us. Ooh, and you can see that you can mix it here. So this is the normal all full texture. You know, let's take off these lights, right? Pure building, no lights. All right, so we're using a mix RGB, and we're mixing the texture of the building and this gradient texture that I just created, right? And it looks all right, you know, like if we put it at 0.5, which is a perfect split mix, it looks like that. That's nice, right? Kinda, maybe. It's a little muddy at the top. What if I did add? Is there an add? There's an add, right? Add. Looks all right. Mix. Darker. Add. Lighter. Color dodge. Can't tell. Let's switch to add. Color dodge. Ooh, it's a lot more subtle. It just looks pink. Screen. That's looking all right. Great. So let's just go to add, right? So sometimes with these colors, I want them to be more vibrant, right? And a cool trick to make them more vibrant, or if you want to like really push something, this may be specific for my needs because I make everything really strong and vibrant. I use a color, and then I use a hue and saturation, because if you put that in there without changing the hue, you could just put the value up to 2, which I think is the highest you can do, and you can make it even brighter. So darker, lighter, and this is normal, brighter. Something to keep in mind when you're using textures if you want to make the colors pop more. Once again, many different ways you can do this. All right, so we did it the mix RGB way, and I think it looks all right. Let's do it now by mixing the shaders. Hold on, let me get that back. Let me make a render so we can switch back between them. All I'm doing is I grab the camera by pressing or clicking on the frame here. And when you click on the frame, you're essentially selecting this camera, and you can move it all around by hitting G, or hit R by rotating it. And you can hit R twice, and you can rotate it by looking around. So if you wanted to like look up at something, you just hit R twice, and it goes into like a trackball mode. You said, could you raise the mix RGB factor as it's an add? Let's check. So when you say the mix, we're an add. Oh, yes. I'm a dummy. Could have just done that. All right, so let's look at it. So if we could have done this, right? If we do that. Yeah, you're smart, because I was thinking mix, and mix is either or. Add is just putting it fully on top. You're 100% right. Let's see what it looks like with the hue saturation and the value even higher. I like it. See, I like it. I like it bright. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe just me. So we'll leave this option here. Just try and organize this. Okay. But yes, thank you so much. That was correct. I was using that wrong. All right, let's try a different way, because I like to explore the different ways we can do stuff. There we go. Let's do it by mixing shaders. Right? So we'll do a shader. We'll do mix shader. We will mix the principle. Let's mix two principles, and then we'll switch it for something else, for like emissions or something. My color transform, before they set it to default, it always used to be to film, and I think they have it set up that way now. 1 second. Is it here? Where's this at? There's too many buttons. Where are the buttons? Where are the buttons? Film. Is it overscan? Color management. There it is. Filmic. sRGB. I put no looks on it. So yeah. So I use Filmic. I remember before when I used to just have to like use it and install an add-on just to get that onto Blender. Alright, so let's mix these two. First, let's do it with a regular mix. Cool. So let's try some different stuff here. Let's try, so right now it's mixing evenly, flat, between these two shaders. All right, so let's go between these two shaders. Okay, boom. So when it comes to these input, obviously you could do the tried and true, which is going to be layer weights. You know, you do a Fresnel. That's always fun. So it goes in between both like that. You could do just facing. You know, that's a lot of fun. You know, so once that the shine hits it, the texture completely goes away, and then the texture kind of like comes back during the light, which actually is a pretty neat effect. You know, if you like that. But I always encourage you guys, when it comes to these factors, to explore, right? And the way to explore is to go into the input and just try all these different ones, right? Some might not even connect, but you should just definitely experiment. Like, ones I like to do is like maybe geometry, and geometry has like pointiness here, and you can do pointiness. And then to control the pointiness, you should add a color ramp. No, a color ramp. And then you can really more art direct this. Let's see. Oh shit. Maybe it's not gonna work. Maybe it's not. Pointiness sometimes works for me. Let's see what this looks like. Hold on. Yes, I think Ferd. I think Into the Spider-Verse is a major influence on my colors, but I did it before Spider-Verse. I'm just kidding. I did. But I'm not saying that I did for anyway. Yes, I think Into the Spider-Verse is a very big inspiration on me. I love those bright colors and stuff. How's it going, 3D Rock? Did you just join? Have you been here? I don't even know. How you doing? How's it going? How's your life? What are you doing this Saturday? This fine Saturday. Oh man, this is looking like a web of mess. Look at this. This is crazy. This is I can see why people get turned off by this stuff. What is happening here? Anyway, I say experiment, guys. Go into the input, try different ones. Let me get this pointy one to work. I really want this one to work. What the hell is this? Oh, I see what's happening. It's using the same viewer. Okay. Let's get this to work. Nice. Nice. Doing raids? What type of games do you play? I'm always playing games. Maybe one day we can play. And that goes for everybody in here. You know, if y'all play games, let me know what games you play. Because I'm all for playing games. Alright, I'm going to try and get this pointy one to work. And then I'll explain it. Because it's kind of frustrating me right now. Oh man, what is happening? It's not doing what I think it should be doing. That's why you have to like diagnose. Well, I'm not sure what that pointy thing is doing. Let's go back. We're getting too complicated here. Let's just go back to some tried and true. Alright, for this mix factor, we will go to input and we will do I like layer weights, of course. Let's do it for now. And let's add some color ramps. Nice, Final Fantasy 11. It's pretty fun. I used to have a lot of friends that played that. Nice VR, the Index. I love it, man. If I had money to buy an Index, I would. I just have the Oculus. I actually, honestly, I was gonna do this stream. I was gonna start it off doing Oculus Medium, like the sculpting software, so then I can bring it into Blender. But I decided that I don't know. Maybe that won't be as fun to watch. I don't know. If you guys ever want to see me sculpt in VR, please let me know. This is mostly a selfish thing that I'm asking right now. All right. So let's convert, do the color ramp. Let's see if we can. Oh no, don't worry, Theory Rock. We would love you to say some random stuff. He's out there in those chats, flaming it up, setting fire. Yeah, 100%. Like VR is hard to watch. I mean the program I would use, you would watch me sculpt. It wouldn't be through my perspective. It would be through a different camera's perspective. Like if you're watching me sculpt. But I don't know. I don't think people. I think there's a particular. I think you have to be like really really good to be impressive and people to watch you. And even then, I watch some impressive artists who do it. What's his name? What's his name? Jan's sculpting. He like does amazing sculpts, but it's not like I don't know if that there's a big demand for watching him sculpt, not in Blender. Just organizing my nodes, having fun here. Really, Neo's VR. I'll definitely check it out. I'm on a VR kick. I just bought like comfort items for my VR. I'm like, I need to be comfortable. I want to be here for multiple hours. I need to exist in a virtual world. Like, I really want to start incorporating all the sculpting I do into into like my normal job and like this and everything because it has so much potential. Also love VR chat. VR chat's a lot of fun. All right, I'm getting derailed. I'm easily distracted. Let's see if we can continue making something here. All right, so we got this. So sometimes what I like to do is I like to let me give myself some more room here, and let me turn this off for a second. So right now the origin point is, and I just hit the numpad to go around it. So right now the origin point's right in the center, and I honestly like this origin point to be closer to. It should be at the bottom, is what I'm saying. So an easy way, the way I switch origin points all the time, is these steps, and it kind of seems like a lot of steps, but maybe it's not. So what I like to do is I like to go into edit mode, and I got to figure out where I want my origin. So I want my origin right in the center, and the right in the center is basically these two vertices in this line. So what you can either do is you can choose the line, so go to 2, press 2, click on this line, or you can click on this vertice and click both of those vertices, right? So once you click the line, you hit Shift S and you go to cursor to selected, and you see this 3D cursor is there, right? Beautiful. It's a beautiful thing. I love the 3D cursor in Blender. I use it all the time. So Shift S, cursor to selected, boom. It will always go, the cursor will always go to the center of a line that you choose, or it'll go to the vertex. But if it also goes to the center of multiple vertex. So if I click this vertex, and this vertex, right? I do Shift S, cursor to selected. It'll go to the center of all 3 points, right? So just keep that in mind. So click that, Shift S, cursor to selected. I go back to object mode, right? I right click it, and you can see the origin. It's right here. You see this little dot here? That's where the origin's at. So I do that, right click it, set origin to 3D cursor. Boom. Now the origin is down there. So now if I were to rotate it, it'll rotate at the bottom, right? And something interesting, call back to what I was talking about earlier, is now you can see that its location is 0.5 meters down, negative. That's because its original state is now upwards, right? Where this origin is supposed to be in the middle. Damn, I'm explaining that horribly. This tells you how far away it is from its original state. Since I moved the origin, its original state changed in correspondence to the origin. So now, a fast way to get this back to the center, if you want to clear out rotations and clear out location, so we'll just see here, is using the Alt version of the button. So if you hit Alt G, it'll clear out the location. So let's see that again. See the location, Alt G clears it out. And so if you had this object over here in some wacky thing, in some wacky perspective, see the scale is 7 times its original state. This rotated from its original state. You know, it's rotated, it's scaled, it's moved. You're like, what am I gonna do with myself? How many buttons do I have to press to get this back to its original spot? So all you have to do is hit Alt. So we'll do Alt P. No, I'm sorry, Alt G. And it'll reset the location. Alt R, it'll reset the rotation. Alt S, it'll reset the scale. And now we're back to square one. And sometimes you really want that. Sometimes you really want to get back to square one. Okay, guys, enough of my dramatization here. So also, to get the 3D cursor to the center, it's Shift C. So let's see, if you hold Shift and click, right click, hold Shift and right click, you can move the 3D cursor. So honestly, if you wanted to do like an arbitrary spot, like, oh, I want the 3D cursor, or I want the origin to be here, you can hold Shift, right click, and it'll move it. And I think it'll move, yeah, the 3D cursor will go on the surface of whatever you're clicking. So if I clicked on, let's say, this surface, you'll see that it's in that surface. I believe it's called auto depth in the preferences. And then you can set your origin wherever you want. Click there. You're like, great. Right click, set origin to 3D cursor. And now the origin is there. Definitely not where I want it. Oh, no. Alt R. Boom. These are some simple things that I think are very important to remember. We'll do it again. 3D cursor, right click, boom, Alt G O R S. Great. So if you're ever gonna scale anything, right? If you're ever gonna make things bigger, it's usually better, depending on what you're doing, what your project, and what your goal is. And once you have a better understanding of it, you'll know when to do it. Instead of scaling it, right? S and scaling it. I'm scaling this object. So this object's original, this is 2.335 times bigger than its original state. So what you'd actually want to do is to go into edit mode, select all, and then scale. And see, this is another issue, right? So I'm scaling from the center. I'm like, I don't want to scale from the center. I want to scale from the origin. You can hit the period key next to the question mark, and you can select where you want to scale from. Right now it's scaling from the medium point, which is the middle point of everything that's selected, right? But what you want to do is either 3D cursor, which is already in the center, or the active element, which would be its origin spot, origin point. Honestly, this is just say it's origin point instead of active element, because it's kind of confusing to me. But so active element, and now when I scale, it scales from its origin point. Oh, I'm sorry. I am wrong on that. I'm very wrong. Excuse me. So scaling from the medium point is going to scale from the middle of everything selected. So you select here, open, small, If you select like these two and you scale it, it'll scale it from the center of those two, you know. The active element is the last thing that was selected. So if I go to active element, you can see the last thing that was selected by it being the lighter color. So if I go to this one, it'll scale from there, right? That's what active element is. My bad, guys. I apologize. We're learning together. So yeah, if you click on this one, it'll scale from there. If you click on this one, it'll scale from there. And that's what active element is, guys. So really what I'll do is this 3D cursor, honestly. Just do the 3D cursor, move it, and then you can scale it bigger and smaller. And then when you exit out, you see that the scale is still 1. So this is its original state. Yeah, I mean, they definitely don't, because for the most part, it won't affect it too much in the long run. There's only very certain circumstances where things start acting really wacky, like super wacky, like modifiers when it's parented to something, and you're gonna be like, why is this happening? I wish I had some examples. I think when I fall into them, I'm gonna start collecting them so I can show you guys. But there's some big examples that will destroy your thinking on like what's happening. Sometimes with like particles and stuff. Thank you, Tad. There's an add-on for an auto transform reply. See, I wouldn't want that. I want to dictate when I want to do it, because I could just hit Shift A. Oops, sorry, Control A, all transforms. So I don't think I wouldn't use an add-on for it. Yes, thank you for rigs. Applying transformations apply a lot to rigs. I barely use rigs. I know how to use them, and I know how to stumble into making them, but I'm not good with them. All right, what was I making? We were doing something here. I was doing something here. All right, let's keep going. Let's see if we can make like, you know, a tunnel. Not a tunnel, an alleyway of some sort. Not a good looking alleyway. Something trippy. Something fun. See, in this case, I rotated the object, and I'm not going to apply the transform. I'm just going to keep it how it is. Oh, the air conditioners? Yo, there's still time. There's still time. There's still time, Ferd. We're talking about these bits right here. All right. We can make it, Ferd. We can do it. It looks pretty funny. All right, we won't stick it out too much. All right. So, you know, to add some. Thank you, Fred. Oh, I didn't see any. Can you post links on chat? Man, I've hardly ever used chat. Nice. What beer do you drink, Ferd? What is your preferred beer of choice? Gotta add some ambient occlusion. See if that this gets me anywhere. All right. See what I'm doing with my life. What's your favorite shitty domestic beer? Like, what is something that you're like, you know what? I'll just drink this shit. All right, my standard go-to for cheaper beer is Old Milwaukee Ice. Never had it. Dab Export. Nice. They're not. Let's see. That's pretty funny. Thank you for sharing that. I think I'm like terrible, man. I'm terrible with beer. Like, I'll drink anything as well. Um, but like, yeah, I think I drink them all. All those as an American, do terrible Pabst Blue Ribbon, you know, Tecate, um, Corona. I think that's the lowest tier I would drink. A Corona, basically water. If you want water, drink a Corona. Burn. All right. You guys have no idea where I'm going. We're just feeling it out. I'm also in cycles. We are switching between the cycles. Look at that. Doesn't it look like a spotlight? Where's Batman? Okay. we got CG jokes over here, Ferd. We got 3D jokes. All I love is PBR and Blender. All right, let's see if I can give this some dimension. All right. We will extrude. Oh yeah, you're a gin and tonic during the summer. I used to be in gin and tonic whenever. Gin and tonic was like the drink I would drink. It was the only drink I like. Put some lime in there. Bottom shelf, top shelf gin. It didn't matter to me. I was gonna get drunk anyway. But yeah, that's pretty neat. Gin and tonics. Is it because it's like refreshing? It's like a lemon. Oh, I'm sorry, a lime. Light, clear drink. I guess it's not heavy. I don't know. What makes it a summer? Why a summer drink? Interesting. Look at everybody. Everybody in the bottom middle left corner has a nice AC unit. I will be changing it to so that it's more randomized, but it's pretty funny to look at. They all come into place. So we can be in the bottom of buildings or the top of buildings. That easy. See if I can do something fun here before we continue doing the serious work. So right now, what I did was in this array, I used the object offset to see, and I used an empty. So this empty right here is affecting the array. Ooh, so trippy. That reminds me of something. Use one of those to generate random stacking like the Olympic Village buildings in Montreal. Let's look at those buildings. I don't know what they look like. Is this what we're talking about? Is that what you're talking about, Ferd? Did I spell Olympic right? Yeah, Olympic Village, Montreal. Did I spell Montreal right? I'm terrible. Okay. Nice. Oh yeah, and we can just keep stretching them out. in the array. All right. Making this trippy stuff. You know what? Let's put both arrays onto this. We'll take offset object. Oh my goodness. This is trippy. Super fun here. I'll check it out now. Hold on. Ah. Yes. Oh man, you could definitely make that with an array modifier. Just so everybody sees, that's what the building looks like. Pretty cool. Pretty fun. All right, all right, all right. All right, we're done playing around. We're done playing around. Let's go back to our original thing, relative. All right. All right, so here we are. We're going to erase that. And I think I like the distance on this and how many there are. 1, 2, 3. I'm not. Why am I counting? They're over here. Let's go with 5. And let's go with 15. Because I like some nice, concise numbers. Alright. Cool. So we got our gradients. We got our buildings. We're looking good. Inception. Oh man, I'm so upset I can't watch Tenet. Very excited for that movie. Very excited. Alright, let's go back. Put this to 1. Buildings. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to commit. Usually I don't like doing this, but I'm going to commit. Commit that array. Oh my god, what's happening? Commit that array. Oh my god, what's happening? Commit mirror. Alright. So now we have 102,000 tries, which is quite a bit. Obviously, if we can get into the millions. But something happened in my gradient. So let's figure out what happened here. Let me apply my transforms. As you see, it's 0.12 whatever. There we go. Very cool. All right, let's see if we can add some of that inspo you send in the DMs. Let's see if I can do that. All right, so since I made these in arrays, right? And they're arrays of that one panel or block or whatever. These are all not connected technically. Like, they're not connected. So the best way to do it is if you put your mouse over an object, right? And you want to just select everything that's connected to the thing that's under your object, you press L, the letter L, right? And I guess I like to remember it by the word link. Like, what is linked to this, right? So that's the shortcut. Go to edit mode. Right now, all these objects are on one, all these buildings are in one object, as you see here. Go to edit mode. Let me make this clearer. So I'm gonna, and if you go over the mouse, if I hit L, you see that I select that block, or I select this block, or I select that block, or I select this block, and that block, and this block, and that block, and this block. So we can just start selecting random ones for funsies. Let's see if we can do something fun. And then, so if I have this on active element, right? That's the last thing I selected, or let's say medium point. It's gonna scale from in the middle here because it's between these and these, right? So I could scale these blocks out. Also got a weird selection there. And I can scale these in, scale these out, blase, 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 blah, right? Don't like that, right? So let's art direct this actually. Let's go to our frame, see what we're looking at here, and let's start selecting ones that I think should be bigger. So let's do this one, that one, that one, this one. That looks pretty good over there. See, just pressing L, maybe not that one. Pressing L and selecting them right there. Pressing L. Broken record. Pressing L. Looking good. Nice, nice, nice. And that one's too close. Maybe this one. Right, so instead of hitting, now that I have them all selected, instead of hitting scale and scaling these, hold on, I gotta figure out what is happening over here. Okay, so I definitely don't want this selected. Okay. All right, no weird selections. So now I have these selected. Yes. So now I have these selected. If you hit the period key and then you go to individual origins, what's gonna do is that every selected object, whatever its like center is, that's where it's gonna scale. So period, individual origins, right? And then we scale them, and now we have bigger blocks. You know, we could start art directing these maybe. Hold on, do that. Maybe scale them out. And maybe not scaling them out like that. And then I'll go back to medium. Scale them in or scale them out a little bit. Make them stick out a little bit. Right. So now we're adding some variation here. We're looking a little nicer. I think I need a ground plane. Scale. Is it like 20, 30? No, we're just gonna make our own scale here. So I made a plane. And I went to 2, which is edge mode, and I'm just going to grab it by the Y. And then I'm going to grab these 2 on the sides, right? Instead of grabbing this one by the, grabbing one, grabbing it, hitting X, and grabbing the other one, grabbing it, hitting X. What I like to do is I like to select both of them, and then I just hit S for scale, but then I just hit X, and I scale it on the X. Some nice basic moves, some Blender foo for you guys. Okay, cool. So I have my ground plane, and it looks like my buildings are all right. I think my buildings need more of like a walk area or something. Let's see. Could we do that? Alright, so we're gonna lift these up. All right, and then we're gonna make a nice little walkway. Well, not walkway, but kind of like things that it stands on. Let's go on the side so we can scale this properly. We'll select a face, hit 3. Go on the right, grab Y. Beautiful. We're going to grab this, scale it like that. In edit mode, I'm going to move it to the side, and I do that so the origin stays at the center. And that's when it's going to be important because I'm going to use the mirror modifier, and it needs that origin at the right place. So give itself like this. Let's see. All right, and then we're going to use the mirror modifier. Meta. It's on the other side. Very good. Maybe we can use the same texture. Look at that. That doesn't look good at all. Alright, so we'll go to the UV editor. And we will do edit mode, select all, and we're going to unwrap it in cube projection. And see if this works. Once again, I'm winging it. We're winging it. We're winging it together. You know, let's do it this way. Let's just project from view. We're going to select it all. Project from view. And then we're going to scale this. And looking at the top left here. You know, we're just having fun, right? Doesn't really look like anything, but I think it looks fun. See what this looks like. Looking pretty basic right now. Alright, let's make a floor. Let me get a texture. Alright guys, hold on. I'm gonna see if I can get some sort of concrete texture. Let's see. We're using real small textures over here. Alright, let's go to the shader node. I should really have a plan. But no, this is a lot of fun. Alright. Beautiful. Alright, same gradient texture. Man, does this look better in cycles? Like, let's see. Look at that. Let's get that over here. Too big, hold on. Dimensions, let's do 50% of that. You know, that's looking fun, right? Somewhat. Maybe. Maybe. All right. So let's do something. Let's bring back the background. Let's say I want this background. Definitely don't want that background. All right, so instead of this object, I just changed my mind. We're not going to use an HDRI. We're not going to do it. We are going to use a gradient. Gradients were so 90s. Now we're all with that flat design, with Apple taking the lead on that, right? All right, let's see if we can make this lighter. There we go. Super saturated. All right, 1. Bring it to 2. We'll divide it a little bit. Divide it some more. Let's add some texture to this floor. I like the texture. Great, great, great. So we're just gonna use the black and white version using a color ramp. Beautiful, beautiful. Got it. Going. Roughness. Let's go back to Eevee. I have to change the lighting on Eevee. I wonder if I can use like a normal map, right? Let's see. Let's see if we can change this into a normal map. Will it normal map? Maybe not. I'm not too skilled with the normal maps here. All right, let's I was working cycles. I get caught up in cycles. Let's go back to Eevee and go into world, and let's just fix this lighting here. Great. Got that ambient occlusion, which is always good. All right. All right, so we got this. Let's make a focus to these buildings. Let's just make, you know, like a tall building, right? So I'm gonna press the numpad on there, gonna go into face mode. I want this to be, I want the origin to be right at the bottom so I can stretch everything from there. So edit mode, select the face, control or shift S, cursor to selected, right, edit, go back to object mode, right click, set origin, origin to 3D. Cursor, and if I hit Alt G, it'll reset it back to here. Didn't really need to do that, but there we go. All right, so now when I scale this, I'm going to do edit mode, select it all, scale, but I'm gonna, I think I'm gonna hit no, shift, no, control at, nope. Which one is the shrink shortcut? Is it control? It's not control S, right? That's save. Man, what is it? Is it Alt S? Oh, it is Alt S. Not working the way I wanted it to. Oh, there you go. Guess not. Guess we just hit S and then we'll hit Shift S or Shift Z. So basically when I hit scale, right? I scale on all three axes. And you can scale on the X axis and the Y axis and the Z axis. But if you want to do two axes at the same time, you hit Shift and click the axes you don't want. So if I don't want it to get taller, I hit Shift Z and it'll go on X and Y and scale that way. If I don't want it to get like wider on the X, Shift X and it'll just go Y and Z. So right now I'm just gonna scale it up. And scale, Shift Z, I don't want to get it any bigger. We're gonna have it take up probably enough here. I'm looking at the top left here, seeing how that's looking. We're probably gonna have to extend this floor. Oops. So edit mode, we'll go to edges, we'll grab that edge, bring the Y back. Whoa, that's not what I wanted. Grab Y and we'll stretch it out. Or we could just make this bigger. What is happening? I'm just kidding. Alright, scaling this. Looks like it's taking an incline or something, so I'm gonna fix that. Some weird stuff's happening to me right now. Let's see. Wow. Why can't I see? Oh, is that because... No, that's not it. I wonder why I can't see the floor go all the way across. Is this not on it? Oh, it was floating above. Look at that. Was it? It is. It is. Oh my god, I'm silly. So this is not on the floor. This is now on the floor. So what I'm gonna do is to fix this is I'll go to edit mode since right now the scale, the location's at 0, so this, it thinks that that's where its original point is. All right, so I'm going to go to edit mode, shift, selected all, cursor to selected, and I'm just gonna set its origin to the center, or to the 3D cursor. Alt G and Alt S. Oh no, we're gonna apply the scale. There we go. Grab, and now we got this floor here, which I guess you can't see right past the horizon line, which doesn't really matter then. Right there's fine. Okay, we're getting closer to some sort of imagery I might like. All right. Let's make a hole in this. Well, first let's start shaping this up to more what I like it to be. You know, these are some typical like sci-fi hallway corridors. Let's see. We'll do this. We'll do a loop cut. We'll cut it right in the center. We will do another loop cut horizontally. And we would do that right in the center here. And all right, so I'm going to delete this face. So bye bye face. And we're gonna delete this face in the back here. So now we can see through it. You can barely tell though. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to select these points. And I'm gonna hit F. That'll make a connection there. And these points, F. And I think this is an add-on, guys. If you go, I think it's called F2. So if you go to add-ons and go to F2, this add-on makes it so when you select points and hit F, it'll create a face. So if I selected these points here and hit F, it'll make just like a triangle. It can even be smart. I can select those three and then maybe put my mouse over here. Oh no, it didn't work the way I wanted to. Oh yeah, that's how it works. So yeah, just select the points that you want to connect and hit F, and we'll just do it here. F, 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 F. Now we got something. Now we got something. We're getting somewhere. All right. So next thing is I want this to have the material. We're just gonna give it a building material, but we're gonna press this little button here so we can make a new material out of the same material. We'll call this main building, maybe. I don't know. This is just a trippy thing I'm making. Main building. And then we're going to maybe reverse. Nope, wrong thing. I'm in world. I'm in world. It needs to be an object. We'll select the building, and we're gonna just flip things around. Keep it harmonious. Maybe make it mostly that color. There we go. There we go. We'll put the pink at the top. The very top. You know what? And we're going to make it a brighter pink too. Oops, I'm screwing all this up. thank you for joining me. I appreciate you. Hopefully I'll see you next Saturday. Have a great day. Enjoy your company. Enjoy your Saturday. I hope you have a wonderful day. Have a beer for me, man. All right. There we go. So this is when I'm using that value, bringing it up to 2. Without it, I think M, right? And this is the difference between having the hue be at value 2 into the color. And it just, I don't know, it makes it pop, as you can see here. Pop, 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 pop. Oh, man. When Ferd leaves, I feel like I gotta start wrapping it up too, you know. Are you guys still out there? Anybody in the chat? Any of you 4 people out there? Talk to me. Write something. What's happening? Anybody? Ask me a question. Does anybody have any Blender questions? Anybody need help on something? Does anybody need anything explained? Just let me know. They're huge. We just got bigger. We just got big lemons. My wife is showing me some huge melons. Oh, wait, not melons. Lemons. Wrong word, guys. I'm sorry. Alright, what was I doing? Okay, let's figure out a better texture for this. Like, let's see if we can do something better. But using the same texture. We're just gonna use the same texture all the way through. That's a challenge. Alright, so let's go to UVs and let's unwrap this thing, alright? And let's do some fun. Let's do any of them. Let's do smart unwrap. That's fun. Let's see. Go to materials. I want these materials to like repeat. Sometimes, like, see how it cuts off there? I used to have it so it repeats. Single image, generated, clip, repeat. There it is. So basically, if this texture was just on clip, it will stop on this UV here. Oh my god. Let me make this more easily viewable. Okay, so since the UVs are coming off of the texture here, you see that it's being cut off, right at the top, right at the bottom here. So what you want is you want this texture to repeat. Sometimes you have repeating textures, so you select the object, go to the material and the shader editor, the shader editor, and change the texture from clip to repeat, and that should have it repeating. So then when you go back into the UVs, you can see that you can just select them all and make them huge, and they could just be like this giant ominous building. But honestly, I showed you that. Didn't even need to do that. So that's an alright one. Let's try a different one. Let's try project from view. You know, we have that. Let's try another one. Let's do a cube projection, which is probably the more accurate one. And honestly, hitting L here, you can select the different parts. I'm gonna move all the ones I'm not using. So L. Can you see anything move? No. Pretty much not. L. Grab. That's the back side. L. Grab. This is the front side right here. So let's see what I can do here. Making an ominous building. A darker building with the gradient looking pretty good. All right. And I think what I want to do is make this extend even further. Right. So I just duplicated this. And by this, I'm just talking about the buildings. So duplicated the buildings, and instead of hitting Shift D, I'm gonna hit Alt D because I'm not gonna be altering it. And Alt D just makes like a linked duplicate. So whatever changes I do on the building would happen on all the buildings. They're not separate objects. They're basically direct copies. I'll show you what I mean now. So I'm gonna line them up. Got this. All right, so if I were to like shift these, you see that it also shifts the linked ones, even though they're two separate objects. Object one, you know, wall one, and then wall two. But if I do select wall one, you see that it affects all of them, which is a lot of fun. All right. Once again, if you're out there watching in the chat, you have a question, please ask a burning question that you need answered that nobody's helping you on. Please, please, please let me know. All right, so there we go. We're getting closer. I think I want to cause more of a separation between the floor and everything else. So let's go to the floor. Let's figure out what we can do here. Oh, this is a little better. I kind of like this better. All right. Cool. All right. So then now what I'm gonna do is let's do a little fracture modifier on this building here. Let's see if that'll work. So look at all this. Look at all this, these badly named layers. So we'll call this ground, wall one. I should just call this building dot 000, building dot 001. Oh, dot 001. This should be building bottom dot 000. Copy it, and this one should be 1. Building bottom, main building. Beautiful. Ground is not a thing, so we'll do ground. All right, cool. So now we got all these buildings, and I'm going to make them all not visible. I'm going to try an experiment here, see if it works out for me. Hopefully. So we got our building, and if we go to edit, Preferences, is it fracture? Cell fracture, beautiful. All right, and we'll do a fracture, and the add-on is on, and we will do a cell fracture here. We'll keep everything on there. See what happens here. All right, so basically what that add-on did is it separated it broke it into pieces. So we're gonna take off the main building, and we're gonna bring everything back. All right, so now that we have this selected, you can see that this building is now separated into a bunch of different parts. If you go to the end panel, and then you go to tools and go to origins, you'll see that you can now, if you go to the end panel, go to tools, and for the transform you put effect only the origins. So instead of stretching it together, since these are all separate pieces, it's actually gonna explode it, and by explode I just mean like separate the objects. We'll go like this, hit S, and that didn't do what I expected. That didn't do what I expected. Location, not origin, excuse me, location. Now we can separate the pieces like this, right? And we can do something a little bit more fun. We have the original building selected. Where is the building? Yeah, here it is. So you can see that it separates, right? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna separate it from, let's see if we can see this better. So in tools, make sure this is on and turn it off right after, because it's going to confuse you. Hit S for scale. I'm going to do it on the Z, and I'm going to hit S for scale. I'm going to do it on the X, and then I'm going to bring everything up. Maybe scale it back down, actually. Just give it those like dimensions, and then just so I can have those lines. I'll bring back the main building. And then for these building materials, I'm just going to make a separate one and copy that separate one that I just created to all the rest of the items. Now, when I go into this, you can see that I'm just affecting the pieces and not the main building. All right, I think this is a good stopping point for me. I'll continue this one either next Saturday, or I'll finish it and post it on Grease Monkey. I'll add some grease pencil objects to it. I just want to thank you guys, all four of you guys, for watching. I appreciate it. If you guys have any questions on Blender or anything like that, please leave a like and leave a comment. And I appreciate you guys watching. Thank you so much, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Thank you guys.